Welcome to Design Build Solutions General Safety Orientation. In this video we will cover the project safety items and your duties as a worker on our site. Here is a list of the following items covered in this orientation. 1. DBS Safety Manual and Policies. 2. Site Rules and Disciplinary Procedures. 3. The requirements to perform and submit safety documentation. 4. Requirements for personal protective equipment. 5. Accident reporting procedures. 6. Location of first aid supplies, safety boards, and fire extinguishers. 7. Emergency numbers and emergency procedures details. 8. Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee. 9. Working at heights. 10. Confined space. 11. Trenching, excavation, and mobile equipment. 12. Lockout tagout. 13. The required training for this project. DBS Safety Manual and Policies. All work on DBS projects must be carried out in accordance with the DBS Safe Work Policies, CSA standards, provincial regulations, provincial act, municipal requirements, or subcontractor policies. Where any of the following overlap, the most stringent policies or procedures must be followed. If you are unsure of how to safely perform a task, make sure you ask your direct supervisor for guidance. You can find copies of the DBS policies and manual for review in the site office. Site Rules and Disciplinary Procedures. 1. Design Build Solutions employees, subcontractors, and agents must adhere to all applicable legislation. 2. Design Build Solutions employees, workers, and agents must adhere to applicable policies, standards, procedures, safe work practices, and company rules. 3. Regulation and workplace-specific personal protective equipment must be worn as required. 4. Theft or willful destruction of property will be grounds for termination and may result in prosecution. 5. Design Build Solutions has a zero-tolerance standard for the use of alcohol and other drugs in the workplace and requires all persons at a Design Build Solutions projects to follow the Canadian model for an alcohol and drug-free workplace. 6. Employees are required to be qualified, competent, and physically capable. 7. Workers must conduct themselves in a manner that does not affect their personal performance, the performance of their coworkers, or Design Build Solutions' ability to conduct business. 8. Workplace violence, harassment, and discrimination will be grounds for immediate dismissal. 9. All incidents, injuries, near misses, and occupational illnesses, no matter how small, must be reported to an employee's supervisor immediately as well as DBS superintendent. 10. All employees in the Return to Work program shall cooperate and participate in their return to work process. 11. Design Build Solutions has a zero-tolerance policy for the use of handheld devices while driving. 12. Unauthorized use of company vehicles is prohibited. 13. Design Build Solutions employees and subcontractors shall treat all Design Build Solutions tools and equipment with care. Employees shall also report any defective or absent equipment or protective devices. 14. Failure to use proper workplace sanitary facilities is prohibited. 15. Posting of personal notices, or distribution of unauthorized written material, is prohibited without proper authorization of an immediate supervisor. 16. Only authorized, experienced, and qualified employees may repair or adjust machinery and equipment. Lockout and tagout procedures must be followed. 17. Only authorized and trained employees may enter a posted confined space. 18. Design Build Solutions employees must obey all smoke-free or legislation in relation to smoking that applies in their provinces. DBS utilizes a three-step disciplinary model. The first step is a verbal warning. The second step is a written warning. The third step is a suspension from site or termination from the site. DBS may bypass the three-step process and have an employee immediately suspended or terminated from the project based on the infraction. The requirements to perform and submit safety documentation. All subcontractors must complete and submit a pre-job hazard assessment daily as well as a toolbox talk weekly. Subcontractors must also perform and document all pre-use inspections on mobile equipment and tools as required. Requirements for personal protective equipment. All workers must wear CSA-approved green triangle steel-toed footwear. CSA-approved hard hat. Approved high-visibility vest and all task-specific PPE as required. All basic PPE must be worn at all times while on site. Task-specific PPE must be used, inspected and certified as required by acts, regulations and standards. Accident reporting procedures. 1. Notify Design Build Solutions immediately. 2. The subcontractor is responsible for meeting Design Build Solutions incident investigation and reporting requirements set forth in this standard and related incident investigation and reporting procedure. 3. Subcontractors may conduct their own investigations which must be reported to Design Build Solutions within 48 hours after the incident, and/or must provide a final document on completion of investigation. 4. As deemed necessary, subcontractors will be required to fully cooperate with Design Build Solutions investigators and any agents assigned by Design Build Solutions. All incidents, injuries or near misses must be reported to DBS as soon as reasonably practicable. Location of first aid supplies, safety boards and fire extinguishers. Design Build Solutions provides first aid kits, fire extinguishers and 15-minute eye wash in the site office. There are also first aid kits, fire extinguishers and single-use eye wash bottles located on the site safety boards throughout the site. The locations of these will be discussed after this video. Subcontractors are responsible for their own fire extinguishers when conducting hot work. If any of the mentioned items are used, it must be reported to Design Build Solutions Superintendent as soon as possible in order to be replaced. Emergency numbers and emergency procedures details. In the event of an emergency, emergency phone numbers can be found in the Design Build Solutions job trailer. These numbers include emergency contact numbers for the Power Corporation, governing body, environmental emergencies, Department of Natural Resources, and poison control. It also includes contact information for the site superintendent, first aiders on site, as well as the contact information for the site safety representative or members of the Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee on sites where one has been developed. Should an emergency occur on site, and you are first on scene, call 911 immediately and contact the site supervisor as soon as reasonably possible. When contacting 911, state your name, address of the incident, type of emergency, the exact location in the building, and stay on the phone until the agent states it is okay to hang up. If trained, and if it is safe to do so, provide any required first aid to the injured employee and stay with the injured employee until you are relieved. First aid kits, fire extinguishers, eye wash, and air horns are available throughout the project on Design Build Solutions safety boards. In addition, all subcontractors are required to provide their employees with easily accessible first aid kits, fire extinguishers, and eye wash while on Design Build Solutions sites. Subcontractors are also responsible for providing first aid trained workers on site as per federal and provincial legislation. First aid kits provided by subcontractors must be compliant with federal and provincial legislation as well as CSA standards. An air horn emergency alert system is used on all Design Build Solutions sites. 3 short air horn blasts indicate there is a medical emergency and immediate assistance is required. 1 long air horn blast indicates that there is an emergency situation, and all employees are to evacuate to the muster point immediately. Do not leave site or return to work until all clear has been given by the site superintendent. The location of the muster point will be discussed after this video. Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee. A Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee will be established on Design Build Solution job sites when the number of sustained employees on site reaches 20 or more. The function of the Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee is to provide a forum for worker and employer representatives to act together to identify, assess and control health and safety hazards in the workplace. The Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee will conduct meeting as per the site schedule. During meetings, members will review all incidents, inspections and audits reports and make recommendations as necessary. Committees will receive information from the employer concerning testing and make recommendations. They will make written recommendations for the reduction of accidents, injuries, illness, and diseases in the workplace. Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee members can accompany an inspector from the legislative authority during the inspection of the workplace and receive copies of the orders. A Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee worker representative will be involved in all critical and/or fatal accidents investigations. Members will assist in resolving matters when a worker refuses work on grounds that it may endanger health and safety. All members of the committee will be compensated at their standard rate of pay for their participation on the committee. Each subcontractor on site will be required to provide a safety representative to take part in committee meetings. If you are interested in becoming a member of the Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee, please speak to your supervisor. Working at heights. Working at heights is any work where a person could fall from a height that may result in injury or death. This might include falling from a stepladder, from a roof, or through an unprotected hole in the ground or floor. Other situations that may require fall protection include forklift platforms, elevated work platforms, fixed suspended work platforms, swing staging, bosun chairs, and other aerial devices. On all design-build solution projects, all floor edges or openings must be covered or guardrail protected when there is a risk of a fall. Should work processes require the removal of the guardrail system, the area must be taped off or roped off at a minimum of 10 feet from the edge of the potential fall risk. Any employees that are required to work within 10 feet of the unprotected edge, fall protection equipment must be used. Employees that are required to wear fall protection devices on design-build solutions projects must have the appropriate training in the operation of those devices prior to their use. Subcontractors are required to provide their employees with the required fall protection device and are responsible for ensuring that the appropriate annual and pre-use inspections are completed. Where the height of the fall is less than 10 feet but the potential for injury is greater due to obstacles, hazards, or equipment operating below, fall protection equipment or guardrails must be installed, or fall protection equipment must be used, to prevent injury. This includes but is not limited to falls onto exposed rebar, falls onto stairs, or falls into water. Employees found in violation of fall protection procedures will be written up with the possibility of being removed from the project. If at any time you encounter an unprotected edge or opening, you have the responsibility to flag off the area with tape or rope and report the hazard to your supervisor immediately. All work at heights must be done in accordance with federal and provincial legislation as well as all applicable CSA standards. Confined space. A confined space is typically a fully or partially enclosed space that is not primarily designed or intended for continuous human occupancy, has limited or restricted entrance or exit, or configuration that can complicate first aid, rescue, evacuation, or other emergency response activities. Confined spaces can represent a risk based on its design, construction, location, or atmosphere, the materials or substances in it, work activities being carried out in it, or the mechanical process and safety hazards present. A confined space permit must be completed and posted at the entrance to the confined space and a copy provided to DBS site superintendent. This permit must include rescue procedures to be initiated in the event of an incident. All employees required to enter a confined space must provide proof of training prior to their entry to the confined space. A copy of the rescue procedures must be provided to the Design-Build Solutions site superintendent prior to entry into the confined space. All work required to be done in a confined space must be done in accordance with federal and provincial legislation as well as all applicable CSA standards. Trenching, excavations, and mobile equipment. No trenching or excavation can be started on a DBS site until the proper locates have been completed and a copy of the locates made available to DBS and all workers involved. Trenches must be dug, sloped, benched, and protected as per local regulations. No worker should enter a trench or excavation without having proper access, egress, to the trench or excavation. Operators must take extra care when working in close proximity to overhead utility lines. A safe clearance report must be completed prior to work starting. All operators must have a valid license and training to operate mobile equipment. Inspections of equipment must be completed as per regulations, Act, CSA standards, or manufacturer's recommendations. These inspections must be documented and made available to DBS upon request. Lockout tagout. No work is to be done on any energized systems on a DBS project. Any system with potential or stored energy must be locked out before work is started. Any worker working on a locked-out system must have their own lock placed on the energy isolation device, be trained in lockout tagout, and be made aware of the hazards involved with the system they are working on. No worker is to remove or cut a lock that is not theirs. Removal of a lock that is not yours is grounds for immediate dismissal. No system should be re-energized until it is walked down and cleared. Training. It is expected that all subcontractors performing work on design-build solutions projects are competent in the work they have been contracted to perform, and workers have been provided with the appropriate training to perform their tasks safely. All subcontracted employees are required to provide required training to design-build solutions. Failure to do so may result in denial from access to site. All site-specific hazards and other site-specific items will be discussed at the end of this video. If you have any questions or concerns, please ask them at this time or bring them up to your supervisor as they arise on site. Thank you for participating in Design-Build Solutions Safety Orientation. Remember, the most important part of this job is that you return home safe.